we have watered our crops, and at this point they have grown pretty large and we have this farm that's looking beautiful. At this point, we need to start looking at protecting the crops. If you recall from our experience growing the tomato, the only real danger was our dog. And it was easy enough to protect the plant. We just had to put a fence around it. But unlike that, when we look at the plants that are grown in a large scale farm, they face many more dangers. One such danger is weeds. So what are weeds? Weeds are nothing but unwanted crops that the farmer did not intend to grow, but they start growing along with other crops in the farm. So how did they get here if we did not intend to grow them? These weeds have some very clever ways to spread. Some of their seeds are so light that they can actually just spread in the air. In other times, then the birds might have taken these seeds and just dropped them on the farm. They are very resilient. Their seeds can just remain there dormant for a really long time. And when this farmer starts adding water and nutrition for their own crops, they start growing. So why is it bad? Why is it bad to have weeds growing along with other crops? As you might have guessed, weeds also fight for water and nutrition. In some cases, they can really suck up all the water and nutrition from the farm that there is really nothing much left for the other crops. Thereby, it leads to a very bad harvest. In other cases, it can be even more serious. So, if these weeds are accidentally mixed in the harvest, they can potentially poison the entire harvest, thereby making it unfit for consumption. Let's look at 3 methods that farmers use to protect their crops against weeds. The first one is tilling. If you recall, tilling is the process of, loosening and turning the soil. The best time to act on weeds is even before sowing any seeds. So at this point, when the land is tilled, the weeds that are already present in the farm, so they get uprooted and thereby they are destroyed. So they just dry up and get mixed with the soil. So let's say that we have tilled the soil, there was no weeds, but after we started growing these crops, weeds somehow find their way and they start growing among the crops in the farm. So at this point, farmers just manually uproot the weeds. The best time to do this is before the weeds have any flower, because at that point they might start dispersing even more seeds. So to help the farmers remove these weeds, they use a tool called a scurpy, which looks like a sickle. The manual removal works when there are not too many weeds, but when there are many weeds in the farm, they can't just manually go and remove them one by one. So in these cases, farmers use a set of chemicals called Verasides. This word side, it means to kill. So Verasides are chemicals that are designed in such a way that they cause a lot of impact on the weeds, thereby killing them. But they don't cause quite as much impact on the crops, so they are left protected to some extent. But all Verasides are very harmful for humans. So the farmers have to take extra care to make sure that they are protected when spraying these Verasides. For that same reason, you should be very careful when consuming fruits and vegetables. You should be sure to wash them thoroughly so that all these chemicals are washed away before you eat them. Much like weeds, another class of danger that the plants face is through pests. These are insects that either just eat the crop or they can cause some diseases for the crop. So for these, farmers use another set of chemicals called pesticides. If you are interested in learning more about these, please check out this video. So let's do a quick summary of what we have learned so far. We learned that weeds are unwanted crops that grow among with the other crops in the farm. We looked at three different ways farmers used to remove the weeds. One is tilling, second is manual removal using kurpi, and third is by using chemicals called weedicides that selectively kill weeds.